Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ty's Perspective, the podcast, the prequel. Yeah, I'm gonna call this Ty's Perspective, the podcast, the prequel. That is a long run on sentence, but what I mean by that is I'm gonna be honest and transparent and say that I don't feel like I am ready to really start a podcast in terms of like equipment, in terms of like camera quality, the quality that I would like to deliver. I just do not have access to that right now. So, this is Ty's Perspective, the podcast, the prequel. And you may ask yourself, why should I listen to your podcast? You have a YouTube channel, you have TikTok, you have Instagram, you have Twitter. Why should I even listen to your podcast? And I think that you should listen to the podcast because the podcast is going to be like a stew, like a gumbo stew, like of all of my platforms put together. You're going to get my input from a mental health perspective and a self-help perspective and a spiritual perspective. You're going to get like the pop culture, me talking about whatever's going on like on TikTok, and you get to see my sexy face like Instagram. It is a combination of everything. So yes, this is Ty's Perspective, the podcast where I talk about whatever I want in long form. What I want to talk about today, we got to talk about Charlie Kirk. We got to talk about Young Thug and them jail phone calls, and Gunna and Mariah the Scientist, Glorilla pulling their wigs off. What else do we have to talk about? We gotta talk about Cardi B and her album. I think that's pretty much it. But me, how am I doing? I have to start off by letting y'all know how I'm doing. I'm highly irritated. My hair is not done, and I need my hair to be done ASAP. Cut that check ASAP.
Need to cut that check, okay? ASAP!
But I'm on this like hair growth journey. What I learned is that my hair likes to be left alone. So the longer I leave it in protected styles, the more it grows, the healthier it is. That's just what my hair likes. So I kind of have to thug it out. I also went into the shower with my nose piercing and came out of the shower without it. So I am very annoyed about that. So really about it. Let's start with Cardi B and her rollout. I am not the biggest fan of Cardi B in terms of her music. Yes, I know the hits. Yes, I like the hits. We all love the hits. We all like the hits. But in terms of like her as an artist, I don't really care for. But I have to give tens where tens are due, okay? I have to give tens where tens are due. This album rollout is genius. It is amazing. It is so creative. I feel like this will go down in history as the blueprint on how to roll out a album in the digital era. Okay, Cardi B is very aware. She is very aware that her album is not gonna do, her second album that's coming out on Friday is not going to do what Invasion of Privacy did. Invasion of Privacy came out right at the intersection of like the end of like pure sales and buying music, physical copies into the streaming era. Like she dropped Invasion of Privacy right at the beginning of the streaming era. So, we are fully in the streaming era. From Invasion of Privacy until now, no female rapper has been able to do 220 at 235 copies. Pink Friday 2 did 228K. In terms of this decade, I don't think anybody is going to debut higher than Pink Friday 2. I don't think anybody is going to be doing higher than 228K. I don't even think Lady Gaga was able to do that, and that's Lady Gaga. So, but yeah, basically what I'm saying is Cardi B is well aware that we're in the streaming era and that it is very difficult to sell albums. Female rappers right now aren't really selling like that. All these things that she's doing, like going to the street and selling her album, going on the train station, doing meet and greets, like everything that she is doing to promote this album is fantastic. I think a lot of artists should be way more creative with how they roll out their albums just because we're not in an album time right now. Albums don't sell. People don't sit there and listen to an album from start to finish. We're in a singles era. So in order to get people to sit down and listen to a body of work or buy or stream or whatever, You have to start getting very creative. And I think that Cardi B has done so. I really feel like Cardi B has done so. So I have to give her her tens on that. I really have to. Even if I don't love her as an artist, I still have to give her her tens on that. In terms of sales, Cardi B is the number two female rapper. In terms of like sales and success, Cardi B is the number two female rapper. And my question for the culture is this. Why do we, like, in terms of, I understand in terms of sales or whatever, but why do we always put her right under Nicki Minaj? Why do we do that? Like, why do we put her as the number two female rapper when y'all know she doesn't really write her raps? At least her songs that are popping, she didn't write those ones. Why do we, I don't know, if y'all ask me, it's nothing but colorism and texturism. She is a light-skinned Afro Latina, you know what I'm saying? And that's why, because I feel like Cardi B, like, I don't understand why she gets sympathy points for pulling up to the kitchen and not cooking, for wearing the lab coat but not doing surgery. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does she get brownie points just for showing up when the topic at hand is rap, when the sport is rap? I think we allow Cardi B the grace that we don't allow, and myself included. I'm including myself in this. We have grace for Cardi B that we don't have for Megan Thee Stallion, Lotto, Doja Cat. You name it, girl. You name it, girl. I don't understand that. But yeah, that's that on Cardi B. That's that on Cardi B. Let's go to Young Thug. 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 Okay. All right, guys. I need to make something very clear. I need to make something very clear. If you are my friend, if me and you are friends, right? I'm your homie, you my homegirl. You know what I'm saying? I'm your homeboy, you my homeboy. We're cool, whatever. We're friends. And we get caught committing a crime. You better pray that the investigators, that the feds, that the police, whoever, you name it, you better pray that they get to you first. Because if they get to me, I'm always snitching. Are you dumb? I feel like we have normalized jail. Like, I feel like we have normalized jail. Do you know what jail is? Yo, some of y'all start tweaking and malfunctioning when you run out of your favorite face cream. What you gonna do when you go to jail, honey? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I am sorry, I am never going to jail, especially if I am a provider for my family. Like, if I'm paying my mom's bills, looking after my kid, looking after my significant other, I am always snitching. There is too much at risk here. I already got caught doing a crime. You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. If I'm gonna, I'm always snitching. That's exactly what I said with 6ix9ine. When the whole thing with 6ix9ine happened and everyone was calling him a rat and dragging him and whoop de whoop, I remember saying that I was always going to snitch. So I don't know why we've normalized not snitching. Girl, cooperate. Once you already got caught. You got caught. Cooperate with the police and get out. And don't ever find yourself doing that again. And another thing I wanted to say is that why do y'all think that these celebrities or these rappers are in the streets? Do y'all really think Drake and Lil Wayne and Eminem and Young Thug and Gunna and all these people are in the streets? I could let you know they're in a mansion with a lot of security. They might pull up to the hood one time with like 6 security guards in a black Suburban, in a Chevy Suburban or an Escalade. But if you think these celebrities are in the streets, I don't know, you might be on the crack that Whitney Houston was doing. I'm just letting you know. I just want to like focus on the Gunna portion of it because that's really what grabbed my attention. Him saying that he doesn't understand how Gunna could do this to him and he invested so much into Gunna. He got Gunna his first apartment. He spent a lot of time with Gunna. He spent more time with Gunna than he did with his kids and his girlfriend. He is saying all of this and I'm just there like, you are free to walk out the closet. Like, no shade, no shade. I know that we're in a time where we like to shame men and say that everything they do is gay, but what do you mean you used to spend more time with Gunna than your kids? You couldn't pay me to say that. Even if it was true. Even if that was my reality, you couldn't pay me to say that. You couldn't. I would take that to the grave. If I ever spent more time with someone's son than the children I brought onto this earth, I would take that to the grave. And when he said that, it told me everything. I said, yo, you were secretly in love with the man. You had a homoerotic friendship with him and y'all had a messy breakup. That's what it gives. That is literally that's really what it gives. And why do men, I don't know, why do men do that? Like I made a TikTok video talking about how a lot of men are sexually attracted to women but emotionally attracted to men. And it was like, I don't know, I was talking about how like I feel like some men are just physically attracted to women. They don't like feminine energy. You know, what feminine energy represents. You know, it represents being compassionate, being understanding, being soft, being submissive. You know, it's very like it's very slow, it's very soft. You know, the feminine energy. A lot of men don't like that. A lot of men, you know what I'm saying? A lot of men don't like that. A lot of men don't like what it means to be a woman. They feel like women are inferior. I don't know. Like a lot of men, I find some men, they go to their girlfriend for sexual fulfillment and go to their homeboys for emotional fulfillment. And wow. Oh, that Glorilla this. That Glorilla this was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Initially, like I'm not gonna lie to you guys and act like I wasn't one of the ones that laughed. She said he looked like Miss Netta. She said that Young Thug looks like Miss Netta. I am not gonna hold you. I was laughing. She said that he looks like a Jamaican Vegeta. I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't unsee it. The part that sent me, it wasn't even the Young Thug diss. It was the Mariah the Scientist. When she said, burning blue, cheapness, burning you. Now that was a bar. Now that was a bar. Woo, that was a burn. That was a bird. I only listened to the diss a few times, but the internet was saying that she was being super colorist, like making fun of his skin color and stuff, and I am not here for that. But guys, are we surprised? She's a light skinned woman. Like, she's a light skinned woman that's dissing a dark skinned man. What did you think she was? You thought she was gonna pull out some? You thought she was gonna pull out some interesting tricks out of her sleeve? No, she was gonna go for what she knows: colorism. Anyhow, next topic is none other than, and guys, do not be mad at me for doing my fake New York accent and my fake British accent. Like, y'all cannot be mad at me. That is just something I do. You know what I mean? But the next topic at hand is none other than Charlie Kirk. Now, as everyone knows, Charlie Kirk was fatally assassinated a couple days ago. My initial response was like, oh, all right. Like I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know how I felt? I felt like, you know when people are throwing a surprise party for you and you open the door and everyone's like, surprise! In this situation, it was literally that, but when I opened the door, everyone threw tomatoes at me. That's literally what happened. It was the exact same situation when Kamala Harris lost. I genuinely believed that she was gonna win. And when she lost, everyone was like, stupid idiot, you really thought they would elect a stupid, dumb black woman to be the president? She's a woman. I was gagged. And I feel the exact same way. Gagged. Gagged at the people's reaction. So gagged. because a lot of people in marginalized communities were celebrating. They were laughing, they were making fun, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was one of them. I am not going to lie to you. I was one of them. You know, everyone was like, you should have empathy. You should have empathy. You should have empathy. I felt like they were shoving empathy down my throat. And I was so confused because how do you ask anybody in marginalized communities that Charlie came after to feel bad? I got caught responding to people, arguing with people, going back and forth with people because I was actually shocked that a lot of people had this opinion. And I don't really go back and forth with people when it comes to stuff like that. I just don't have the patience. But I got caught up because, people were telling me, oh, it's just a difference of opinion. Pause. That's where I have to stop with the difference of opinion. That's where I need to go. For the slow people in the back, okay? For the slow people in the back. Listen here. Listen here. A difference of opinion is me liking the color red and you hating the color red. That is a difference of opinion. I hate avocados and I think it tastes like grease. That's a fact. A lot of people love avocado. That is a difference of opinion. A difference in political opinions or political views is me saying that the government should be allocating much more money towards healthy lunches for elementary school kids. And you thinking, I think the government should allocate more money to sports for young teenagers. That is a difference of opinion. Saying that if you see a black person as a pilot, you're going to wonder if they're qualified. Saying that black people were better off under slavery and Jim Crow. Telling your millions and millions of supporters that black people commit most of the crimes in America without giving additional statistics and information as to why that is. That's hate. That's hate. Going on a platform and saying in front of millions of people that if your 10-year-old daughter were to get sexually assaulted and get pregnant, you would force her to keep that baby. That is hate. A lot of people are saying that, oh, he wasn't spreading hate, it was just a difference of opinion. Y'all need to know what an opinion is. And then y'all saying, oh, he just had different political views. Y'all need to learn what a political view is. And then y'all saying, oh, y'all just can't take criticism. Y'all need to learn what criticism is. And y'all need to learn what hate speech is. And I know a lot of people out there are unaware, but I got something for you. There is this thing, it's a search engine called Google, and it's free. And you can go and Google any definition you want, any term, anything you want to understand. You can go into the search engine and enter whatever you want to know. Yeah. So I encourage everyone to go and look up an opinion, a political view, a critique, and hate speech. And, compare and contrast. What is an opinion versus hate speech? What is being critical versus hate speech? Have fun. It's there for you to use. It's free. It's free. It's free. Go and use it. I went through hell over the past couple days. I got my wig pulled off. I got my wig pulled off so many times that I have to now go to Turkey. I have to fly to Turkey and get a hair transplant. The amount of people that have ripped my wig directly off of my scalp, crazy work. I had someone tell me that there's no such thing as white privilege. Now it's black privilege. Telling me that he was a man of God, telling me that he had a wife and kids. George Floyd had kids. People saying that he was a father. Kids in Gaza that lost their father. I don't know. Like, this man said that abortions are worse than the Holocaust. In the Bible, how the Bible says, and I'm not a Christian, huh? I'm not a Christian. I just like to, there's just a few things in the Bible that I like. But in the Bible, that how it says, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Well, guys, for a lot of marginalized people, for a lot of people in marginalized communities, he was the weapon. That's what you guys need to understand. He was the weapon that was formed against us, and he did not prosper. That's why there's a little bit of woo happening. And this is a man that was very pro-gun. This is somebody that's very pro-gun. I just want to talk about the like spiritual or like the scary side of it or the spooky side of it. Moments before he passed away, he was asked something along the lines of how many shootings have there been in the last year? And he said with something like with or without, including or not including gang violence. And you know what he means by gang violence. He was getting ready to blame black people and people of color for shootings happening in America. Moments. Like that was his last words were gang violence. It is crazy. Like, I never believed in the Illuminati and selling your soul to the devil. I never believed in that, but I did. Actually, I believed in it to a certain degree, and what I mean by that is I believe that the whole concept of selling your soul to the devil, it's not literal. It doesn't mean you go to the freaking forest and you do like a spiritual dance and then you sell your soul to the, no, that's not what it means. I think it is symbolism for the fact that when you do the devil's work, when you do evil things, there is a price that you have to pay at the end. At some point, there's a price that you have to pay. And I feel like he paid his price. Like that's what I mean. That's what I think selling your soul to the devil means. When they say successful people have sold their souls, I don't think they mean it in a literal way. What they mean is they have sold their morals and values. They've traded their morals and values to get donations from billionaires. Allegedly, 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 allegedly. And then what was crazy, another thing that was so crazy was I watched Candace Owens' video. Candace Owens made a video about Charlie Kirk because I was like her bestie girl. That was her homegirl. What was so interesting to me was she was explaining how he had an amazing work ethic. And I feel like having a strong work ethic is a God-given gift, okay? I am struggling to make sure I go to the gym 4 times a week, make sure I do everything that I set out to do for the week. Work ethic, I pray for that. That is something I pray for. I know that the thing that is going to stop me from achieving my goals is work ethic. It's the thing that I have to, it is it is the final boss for me. And I pray for that. And I thought to myself, imagine someone who has that work ethic. Like he had that and he used it to spread hate. The devil used, the enemy used Charlie Kirk's work ethic as the weapon formed against us. Crazy. The final thing I want to say is the nerve of black people to be defending this man is sending me into infinity and beyond. It is sending me because it's like even before Charlie Kirk, I had been getting so annoyed with certain black people. Like just getting annoyed because I feel like I'm in a time right now where the universe is reminding me some black people just cannot be helped. Some black people are forever going to be mentally enslaved. Some black people are forever going to be emotionally and mentally under control by white people. We have professional coon Candace Owens crying over this man. We have undercover coon Dr. Umar saying that we shouldn't be celebrating this. It's like black people telling me he had a wife and kids and that I need to have empathy. And the final thing I want to say is anybody telling people that they should have empathy, I want you to know that that is coming from a place of privilege. It's coming from a place of privilege. It has to. That is the only way. That is the only way because, and then what's funny is there is a man that passed away in the States. I don't know the exact story yet, but from what I know, they found him hung on a tree. Where's the empathy now? Hello, people. Where is the empathy now? Oh, okay. When it comes to black people, asking other black people in other marginalized communities to have empathy for this man, all I'll say is the older and older I get, the more I understand why young Harriet left slaves behind. I understand why young Harriet left her own husband behind. I totally understand. And the reason I say young is because the fact that she was able to come to an understanding way back when at such a young age is remarkable. It's incredible. It is incredible. A young man living in 2025, I am still wrestling with that understanding that she had. She understood that some people, some slaves were just mentally a slave and they couldn't be saved. I understand her more and more the older and older I get. That's pretty much all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say today. Follow me on TikTok at Ty's Perspective. Follow me on YouTube at Ty's Perspective. Follow me everywhere at Ty's Perspective. And until next time, toodaloo.